Zoe,
Hello.
how are we today? Are we doing well?
Yeah, not too bad. Had a couple of days of been, yeah, not too good,
Not
but
so good. Not so
no.
good. Well, we've got a mutual friend who put me in contact with you because he said to me, that's Nathan Tregoning, who's been on the show.
Yep.
He said to me, there's somebody who I think is quite inspirational to speak to, and he's passed me to yourself. And obviously, I've been made a little bit aware of your situation, but I want to go obviously deeper into it because I think this is a really good story
Right.
to go into. So there's two avenues that we can go down, and we're going to go down with this. And one is the fact that you are currently you were diagnosed with multiple sclerosis,
That's right.
and you are also a bodybuilder as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Okay, so out of curiosity, then, which of these came first? Was it the bodybuilding or the MS?
Well, previous to the MS, I'd always attempted to keep myself fit, but never to the extreme of bodybuilding. It was when, I should say, after I got diagnosed, I lost a part of my memory. And as daft as it might sound, I forgot what I was doing in the gym. And for me,
Yeah,
that was very frustrating. It took 2 years to get back into it. Around the same time, I ended up getting medically retired. So I had all this time on my hands. What am I going to do with it?
mm,
And the gym has always been my safe space, whether it be lifting weights, well, not kickboxing, but boxing, Krav Maga. It's always been my escape route.
yeah,
So now I'm medically retired, completely bored, got nothing to do. I thought, balls to it. Let's see how far we can go with this. And
absolutely.
that's it,
So
basically.
what were you doing before you got medically retired?
Um, I worked with Cleveland Place at one point, with the new builds in our area. And my last job, I was actually working in a mental health hospital, Rosebery Park, that's near us.
Wow.
Um, just health. I can't even say it. Healthcare assistant. And I also did domicile care, which is like your house to house care. Um, Two jobs that I absolutely loved. If the NHS asked me to go back, I would. But unfortunately, because my job it was quite manual in the fact of hoisting, remembering stuff, because it wasn't just a basic hospital. I worked on the forensic side, so a lot of them would have been prisoners if they hadn't been in the hospital.
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
okay. That in itself must have presented a few interesting
very
situations.
much so. Very much so. I mean, a lot of the times, I mean, obviously, I was privy to their past history, and quite a lot of them, I was like, no wonder you've ended up the way that you are.
Well,
Because
because of
when,
their life story
yeah,
is such.
because yeah, the way that life had them, basically, the way that they've been brought up, the way the situations surrounding. A lot of them had learning difficulties, along with mental health. And so I suppose there were easy sources for people,
Mm,
and they didn't understand right from wrong. So what they would think is right, you or I would say, what? But
yeah.
yeah, and when you actually look into the background, it opens up your eyes of the case of, well, hang on, there's
Mm,
more to this whys and whens. There's
yeah.
more to their story. And yeah, that's why I absolutely love the job, especially on them when you see them that were getting released, because some of them would be completely institutionalized, and you see them getting released and that they're doing so well. From when you see people when they come in such a state, mental health wise, don't know who they are, creating, we're having to restrain them, for their own safety as well as everyone else's safety. And then to see them however many years later getting up, getting about and doing, it is that part of
It's
that's
probably a
part of the
boon
job I
for
loved.
you to be able to see that, to see them go from here to here and
That's it.
improve.
It gives you a sense of, yeah, I am doing right.
Mm,
You see in the news and the rest of it, the fact, oh, the restraint, they did this, they did that. And I'm like, well, Yeah, but you know, it's sometimes it's to stop them from harming themselves.
Yeah, because
And
the thing is, you're not dealing with people who, like you said, they're not seeing things the same way as what you would
no,
say being regular, if you want to say a regular person are. So a person wouldn't normally injure themselves, but these people could.
well, that's it. Some people, I mean, when it came to, because there's two sides to the hospital. There's acutes, which would be you and I, and then you've got the forensic side, which goes in more depth.
Mm.
And yeah, I don't. It's just it was a surreal job. A lot of people didn't like it working there. And then obviously the media gets hold of a lot of stuff. But for myself, the wards that I worked on, to see some of the, I mean, it was mainly the male wards that I worked on, and to see some of them, even maybe not getting released, but the fact that in 6 or 7 years, the different, you can sit and have a conversation with them,
Mm.
whereas previously there was no chance.
Do
It's
you think
just
there's ever anybody like you've come across where you just thought there is no hope for you whatsoever,
yes,
too far gone?
yes, there has. You'd get people that they would have meltdowns quite often, and I felt for them when they were in that state because a lot of it would be complex PTSD from previous trauma within their lives, and they get to a point where they're hearing the voices, they shut their eyes and they're back in that situation, and that'll make them flip out. And yeah, it's the case of you try everything that you possibly can, give them learning like coping techniques and hope that it's going to work. But on some people, unfortunately, you can do your best, but it doesn't. It
Well,
doesn't get
yeah,
there.
'cause I would imagine. I mean, it's how many years of whatever crap they've had to deal with,
Basically,
going through. Um, is it? Did you ever feel in danger when you was doing that?
no. As daft as that is, no. Even though I'd been attacked in the job, um, I, yeah, no, I never did because whenever you went into work, you understand that there is a level of danger there. So you've got to keep that 360 awareness at all times. Where are they? What are they doing? They've gone quiet, or you just have to try and stay that one step ahead. But because you know that you're in that situation and it might happen, you become more aware of it, which
Mm.
unfortunately for me, because of the MS, that's why I couldn't continue, because I couldn't have that self-awareness anymore.
And the thing is, I suppose, like you said there, when it's quiet, it's like, what's going on? What's happening? I suppose it's a bit
Well,
like children, isn't it? In a way, like
it
they're
is,
quiet.
yeah.
What they're doing.
A lot of the time it is. It's like, hold on a second. And you can see on some people that have tells, you can see, they'll sit there and that's a coping thing for them. So
Mm-hmm.
that something's on that person's mind. Something's not quite as it should be. And you pick up on them tells of certain individuals, and normally you can get to have 1-to-1 with them, or a 2-to-1, which was more often, 2 staff to 1 patient, so they can open up and say what's on their mind, because it might be the fact of they've said something to one person and don't feel listened because of the learning difficulties that are among there, and the different types of uh, conditions that come with that. The anxiety hits in, and they just get so frustrated, and the only way that they know how to get rid of that frustration is lashing out. So
Yeah,
it's getting to that point and de-escalating it before it happens. Sometimes it works, not always, but
not always, no. But I guess the thing is, if they've been brought up in a life that's only taught them that violence is the answer, well, then that's what they're going to go to, isn't it?
exactly. Because yeah, and if you think of a child, if it stamps its feet enough, 9 times out of 10 it gets.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. You just can't ignore these whilst they rain on the floor, So
Yeah.
but were they ever violent to each other in there?
Um, I'm trying to think. To be honest, there was the odd times, but that would be because one thing with that we didn't say is, oh, is they're in here because of. So it wasn't letting other people know, what their indexes were, but some of them would be quite bolshy about it and tell everyone themselves. And if one of the patients didn't like what they'd done, then they would be out for them, and then you'd just have to put safety measures in place. Like one patient ended up one being 2-to-1 at all times around the ward. So that's two members of staff within arm's reach. It wasn't a case of they were going to harm themselves. It wasn't for if they harmed, it was if people were going to harm them.
Because it's very similar to just prison then, isn't it? There's almost
Basically,
like a hierarchy of, because I've had this conversation with other guests, and it's like prison has a hierarchy of what is deemed acceptable in terms of what you went in for, and obviously you've got the sex offenders, the children, and so on like that. You said that obviously you were privy to the reasons why people were in there in the first place.
Yes.
How do you then cope then when you've got somebody in there where you've read what they've done?
There was quite a few for myself. I'd look at what they've done and it'd make my skin crawl.
But
I
was wondering like how you can continue knowing what they've done.
It's difficult. It's being able to put that aside, because at the end of the day they are still a person. They are still somebody's daughter, somebody's son, and being able to put that part of them aside, and then when you look back at the whys and the whens, then it becomes more apparent, because especially when it comes to the likes of abuse, it runs in circles, and that circle's never been broken. So what they've possibly had done to themselves, they've continued to do to others. Because
you find that, don't you? You find sometimes when they, let's say, for example, if they were a child and they were abused by a family member or something like that, they tend to either go one or two ways. They either like break the cycle there and then, or they find that it then continues with them.
That's it. We did have both sides of it as well. So obviously, so that's one reason we had female wards and male wards, because obviously that would trigger events. There were certain people that could only have male staff. There were certain people that could only have female staff because of trauma that had happened in the past. And everything has got to be. Everything's got to be looked at what their triggers might be, what they can be, and whilst time goes on, you might find other triggers that you didn't know were there. So you've got to address them, and I loved it because no day was ever the same.
Do you think it was something that was paid enough, or whether it was something that should have been paid more for what you were doing?
No, I don't think the likes of the NHS, I think a lot of the staff are well underpaid. When it comes in the caring role for the people that are doing domicile care, again, well underpaid, because we're not just on the domicile side, we're not just making cups of tea and having a chat. There is a lot of manual work involved in that, and not just care for the patient, but care for the family as well. And the same in the hospital side, but a lot of that just goes, it's just not seen.
Yeah, because I imagine you probably had a fair amount of staff turnover, I would imagine, in terms of... Definitely.
And then you get agency workers. Some of them are absolutely brilliant, but some of them don't know what they're stepping into. And that causes problems for us, because we've done the control and restraint training every single year. We're always updated on it, and then to have people come in that have maybe had half an hour on it, it's like, what the hell? You expect that person to have your back.
Well, yeah, because I imagine if you're dealing with a difficult situation, somebody's kicking off, you've got your mind split between them, and is this person going to be helping me or hindering me?
Exactly. That's just it. It's there's one time I can remember, one of the lads he was going mental, but I was on somebody else. Now that's my station. That's where I have to stay there. But I could see that there was problems within that scenario going on over there, whereas I'm sat here and I can't do anything about it. Then it's a case, because you're that short staffed as well. It's not the case of tapping someone on the shoulder and saying, right, you do ops on there, I'll go in, because there isn't enough staff to be able to do that. It's
Very, very similar to the prison system then, with the prison wardens and so on. You obviously don't have to say names, and we're not looking for names, but was there a particular person you dealt with who had just a backstory that was the worst you saw, that really sort of shook you up?
No. There was a few that I thought, well, there was one in particular, actually a law came out because of his index, but he'd been completely institutionalized. He'd been in there since before I was born.
Wow.
So he's been in there over 50 years. And he's still there. But because
these people were to be released, it's a bit like the Shawshank Redemption, when you've got the guy in there who's been in there for all his life in the film, and he gets released and he just can't cope with this new world. It always makes you wonder, how would ever a person ever leave it and assimilate back into society after all that?
Yeah, it's we do stages of leave for them. It'll be with a person and so far out, a little bit further out with staff, and there might be 3 staff go with them, there might be 1 staff go with them. Eventually they will be allowed out on their own, but the trust is they're there at a certain time, they're back at a certain time. So everything's put as it should be. Some of them do disappear and come back 3 days later, but when they actually are ready for the outside world as such, I can only imagine. I mean, I don't deal with that side of it, and I can only imagine it's bloody difficult, because I don't know what support's there for them. I don't actually think there's that much. I don't think.
Probably
Well,
not.
I think there is some, but I don't think it's enough. They don't need babysitting, because that's the reason. Same as you do with your own child when they hit a certain age, off you go.
Yeah,
go into the real world.
Speaking to a guest, and he said he was in prison for a number of years, and he came out and he said it was even something stupid like the fact that everyone's got their heads down looking at smartphones. What are these things? I've not even seen these. These weren't a thing when I first went in. So that's just one point, let alone everything else that's happened since you've been away.
Well, that's it. One of the girls had been in there 27 years, and the road outside the hospital wasn't a dual carriageway. It was when she left. And her first outing as such was so overwhelming for her. She did end up taking a couple of steps back afterwards, and then it was about a month before she went back out again, because it was just too much for her. Oh my God, where the hell are these cars come from? What's that? What do I do with this? And got her back out, and eventually she has been released since. And I'm hoping that, because she was a lovely girl, I'm really hoping that she's doing well with herself.
Do you think working in that line of work made you think about people and society and things like that? Did it sort of change your opinion on things?
Definitely. Was I, when I was with the police, was I judgmental? Yeah, I think I was. I just worked in the PFI side of it, so I didn't really have much to do with custody, but I was down there quite often. But you'd hear them, they're banging on the doors, and they're like, oh my God, there's another. Whereas now, I look more on the whys and whens. What's made them react like that? That's not normal, or what we'd class as normal human behaviour. So what's it stem from? And I'm like that with everything. I don't know whether it's made me paranoid or. Yesterday there was an incident local to me, which some of the lads have put on Facebook about it. and everyone's sort of like, "Oh, well done you, idiot!" And all of it. My comment on it was, "I hope everyone's okay, including the ass that's done this, because there's got to be a reason behind it."
And I bet you got backlash from it as well.
Not yet, because
We might.
I only actually put that comment today, and I've not looked back. But I possibly will have. But if I have, tough. That's not the way that I think.
But that's the thing. I've watched quite a few of like these 999 shows and something like that, and you'll see it where a call has come in for somebody who has had a psychotic moment, right, and is going through it, and then the ambulance are called, the police are called, and it's basically like, well, what are we supposed to do with them? You know, it's because there's no in between, there's no dedicated thing for it. So the police are like, well, all we can do is just take them back to the Nick, and that's it.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. and that's it. It seems like there's a void here that should be something there, which isn't.
Yeah, I believe that they are actually. I mean, my daughter would know more on this because she's training to be a paramedic at the moment. So she's done a lot through uni placements and the rest of it. But I believe that they are actually supposed to be doing something on the mental health side, and including units that would be with the police and with paramedics. You'd expect paramedics to know mental health, but a lot of them, they know the basics. But as you say, when someone's in crisis, being able to de-escalate situations, that type of thing. Some of the police are absolutely useless at de-escalating.
Well, because at the end of the day, it's like, well, this is specialist training. You know, this is that is their job to do this. Well, you know, if you're doing 100 million one things and now you've got a call come through to somebody who's gone, as you would say, doolally, potentially, although he's just having a psychotic moment, what are you supposed to do? And the thing is, right, I think what's come up from quite a lot of these conversations I've had with people is that the care mental health side of things is 0 to none, essentially.
Yeah.
And so, essentially all you're doing is just kicking the can down the road. You're just moving this person from here where he's being a supposed nuisance to just
with mental health, I think there only up till recently there's been a lot of stigma with it. You know, if you're down, get up, you'll be right. Get on, man up. You know, there's always been that, get on with this, you'll be fine. There's never been that, well, okay, what is the problem? You know, there's never anyone there to say, well, how can I help? How would you like me to help? Which for me goes a hell of a long way. Not somebody taking over and trying to help, but actually asking them questions. A lot of the time, the person won't know themselves how someone can help them or what. But just that being there and being able to let them speak, let them vent, it works. And a lot of that goes amiss.
The example I always seem to give, and it's because it really sort of sums it up, is that I've had a person I know who was going through one of these moments, and they actually managed to get the energy to phone the crisis line to say, look, I'm going through this at the moment. And they got told to run a bath and just have a bath.
Yes, I'm just going to roll my eyes at that. You're right. No, you're completely right. You do get the odd one within the crisis team who's bloody good at their job, but they're few and very far between. Yeah, what's a bath going to do? Stick the toaster in it with you? Yeah,
exactly. That's what I said. You know, or is it go for a walk? And like, you know, at the end of the day, this is the dedicated service for someone who's like, I'm going through this at the moment, and
that's just it. I don't need a referral for it to be picked up in 3 months' time, because I'm not going to be here in 3 months' time, and that, you know, they need the help there. They need the help then. And I mean, there is the crisis team, but I mean, there's other ones like talking therapies. There is a few other out there, but you don't see them posted anywhere. You don't see. There is another one local to us, and I cannot remember the name of it. But I only came across it when I was working with the diversion and liaison team during COVID. I didn't know this company existed, but it was one to signpost people to for when they are at that moment, because it only takes 2 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's
something that I think that is only going to get worse if it's not dealt with, because they say it is essentially its own pandemic, mental health in the country, and it's just getting worse because it's being left.
Well, that's just it. There's also the people tiptoeing around people and not wanting to create a drama. And then on the mental health side, nobody wants to shout up and speak because of the tiptoeing around them. Myself, yesterday, I'll be over and I'll say yesterday, I was having a complete breakdown. I had that much stress going on, and I was at the lowest I have been for a lot of years. And I spoke out to a couple of guys from the mental health car club with Nathan. And just by having to open up and chat to them, you know, here's what's going on. This is where my head's at. They brought me back around. You know, just literally 3 conversations I had, or 3 different conversations with different people, and it made you think that shit. Hang on a minute, yeah, it's not that bad, is it? There is other way around this.
What did it mean to you to have that?
At the moment, I've got a hell of a lot of stress going on. At the moment, I've got, well, since October, to be fair. I've got the MS, as we know. But with MS, stress or any type of immune response can flare you up. So you end up with all these symptoms coming back that you've had before. Some of them are constant, some of them are there, some of them just appear when the hell they want to. So October, I had a cancer scare. Didn't get the all clear until January. In January, I had to make the decision to have my dog put down, who was my little nurse. You know, she was, 11, so it's not like she was a little pup or anything. She was aware of my symptoms. She would come and nudge me, you know, sit down, mum. And if I went to bed, she'd sit on the end of my bed and wouldn't move until she knew I was okay. Then after that, I ended up with chest infection, which people with MS, certain medications you're prone to. Urine infection, again, we're prone to them. Then came April, I got told by my landlord that he's wanting to sell.
Christ.
And that bit,
one thing after the other, isn't it?
That bit's still ongoing because I've been arguing with the council because obviously I'm classed as disabled, but their OT had seen the letters from the doctors and all that side of it, and basically decided that I needed a ground floor property with adaptions, room for a wheelchair coming in and out. I'm like, right, okay, how have you come up with this? Oh, well, that's how it's going to end up. I'm like, great. Even my neurologist can't even tell me that because MS is that well researched and nobody knows. It's one of them things. I could stay like this for the rest of my life. And I was like, I think I can manage some stairs. If I can manage the gym 5 times a week.
It's liability, isn't it? I
Yeah.
think that's what it is.
So yesterday I got an email off them saying, oh, we're unsure on your banding. There's a house that's come up, and it's a new build, so I'm waiting for the completion of it. I understand that side of it with the surveyors and the rest, and the building side. But we're unsure on your banding. We're going to have to look into it. I need to speak to my manager. Right, okay. Right, okay. Why is this just coming up now? You've got all of the information. You've had it since April.
Yeah.
And then that's when my judgmental side comes in.
But then do you not think though that everything seems broken anyway?
Yes, very much so. For me, it's a case of, oh, well, you're going to be homeless, therefore you must be one of the lovelies that we have on the street. Not the fact that I'm 50-year-old, didn't ask to be disabled, and didn't ask to be medically retired, but I am. I've worked every single day since I was 14, I think my first job was. Yeah. I've been one of the lucky ones where I think I've been unemployed once in my life. But I don't think they're looking at that. Like, this person actually does something, actually wants to do something. They'd be perfect for this type of area, or they'd be perfect in that area. You know, the different areas of housing that I'm talking about, assumingly.
And the amount of money you've paid and contributed towards in your employment and stuff like that, you know,
Yeah.
over the years.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like yesterday I didn't know right from left. There is no way would I be able to advocate for myself yesterday because I wasn't in the frame of mind. My mind had turned, my brain had turned to scrambled egg. I couldn't think of anything. But I'm not disabled enough to have an advocate, according to the criteria.
Well, something else I want to ask as well is that I've got a bit of background in this. Are you currently able to receive your PIP, personal independent payments?
Only just. Only just, yes.
Yeah.
Just after I was diagnosed,
what is that? What is the PIP? Because I know what it is.
personal independence payments, they're not means tested. So it doesn't matter what you're earning, you could get it. But you have to fit the criteria. It is what you can manage to do daily living. When you fill the form out, it is so confusing. There are a few places that can help.
Probably.
Yeah, trying to fill it out by yourself, forget it. Get whoever is going for who thinks that they're entitled to PIP, make sure you fight for justice, citizens' advice, go to somewhere and get help with filling it out, because it's not so much what you put down, it's the wording. You've got to put the right words down. It needs to be re-looked at, and I know it's supposed to be. But for myself, just after I was diagnosed, I had a hell of a relapse, and I basically was teaching myself how to do everything again, walking and everything, which I did. Got right, and ended up with 4 blood clots in my lungs. So I was back to square one. Now at that point, I was having problems going. I mean, I lived in a bungalow then, and I was having problems getting up to go to the toilet, and well, you name it, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now apparently my daily living was substantial enough that I wasn't allowed PIP. Okay. And I didn't have the mental strength to go for a mandatory appeal or take it to court, which are the next 2 steps once you get refused. So I left it. 2 years later, I'd managed to get on some decent medication for the MS, which slowed progress, slowed progression, and the rest of it down. So I was actually, the blood clots had gone, thankfully. So I was actually in a better position than I was when I first applied. Filled the form in. I get awarded it. Right. I'm like, hang on a minute, how does this work? I was absolutely knackered back then, whereas I'm not as knackered, but I'm now awarded it.
Well, the thing is, Zoe, is that I know somebody who was a nurse, and she just dealt with MS patients all the time, and she would help them obviously with completing the applications for it and all that. And the amount of them that wouldn't get this payment, and they would basically say to them, "You do realise this isn't going to get better. This isn't something that they're going to get over. You know, this could very well be degenerative as it goes on. So, what are you saying then? That they're fine?"
That's the one. That's the one thing that gets me with the care that I did previously. I did look after 2. I had 2 patients that were MS on progressive, and they were. Well, one of them was definitely end stage because he's passed now. I've known of friends, family that have had it, and I've seen the worst or it could be. But I've also seen people in their 80s and 90s with it. It was still running around like headless chickens. It is the disease is so different, but at the end of the day, it is progressive. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many lesions you've got on your brain and spine. It's where they actually are. What one lesion can make you paralyzed if it's in the right place.
So for yourself, how did you come about realizing that, well, being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis? Was there sort of a lead up to this that you started?
Yeah, I was I was working in domicile care. I was working with another girl. We were doing double up calls. I'd turned up. I was feeling a little bit tired the day before, but nothing major. And that particular day, I thought I'd had a stroke. I had left facial drop. I can remember passing her the notes for the patient that we were in for, and apparently I just passed to them. But when I spoke to her, apparently I bounced off every piece of furniture that was in the house first, then passed to them. Me being me, I continued the 16-hour shift. How I managed to do the last call, because that was a Jedge feed with 14 different medications. So that's a tube that goes into the duodenum, and you've got to use a syringe and put the medication in that way. I managed it. The only thing I forgot to do was turn the numbers on the dial for the house. Took myself to A&E, thinking, right, it's Bell's palsy or I've had a stroke. Something is not right here. Got put on the stroke ward, had scans, got told it's not a stroke, but it is something.
Right.
Yeah,
When you're
and
thinking,
that,
well, what? Yeah.
that was it, basically. I found out 6 months later. Was it about? Well, my doctors were actually told 4 months later that I had multiple sclerosis, but nobody told me.
You're
It was
joking.
6 months later, I rang the doctors thinking that I was having a mental breakdown because COVID had hit. We were all grounded. I'm working on the COVID wards as well as doing full time where I was working. And yeah, I was in a complete state. I thought I was having a mental breakdown. I was doing too much. Their answer to me was, I think you need to get in touch with neurology. Why?
So you telling me then they knew for 2 months
Yeah.
before you even, and if you hadn't have got in contact with them, it
Yeah.
would have gone forever.
Yeah, basically. They hadn't passed my my details over to the MS team, so the MS nurses weren't aware. When I did finally get in touch with the MS nurses, they were like, "Oh my god, you need to come in." So, in respect, I know it's one of these what ifs, but I was actually having a relapse at that time, but I didn't know. I could have had some form of medication that might have lessened that relapse. Not saying they would have stopped it, but I would have been more careful. I wouldn't have been working on the COVID wards for one. I maybe would have adapted my hours a little bit of work and done things that would have benefited me. But unfortunately, I ended up having a relapse, rang them, eventually gets through to find out that, yes, I have multiple sclerosis. And
I mean, at the end of the day, if let's say, for example, right, you know you're expecting results to come through, and then you get told you got multiple sclerosis, that's one thing. But you got it as like a surprise when you weren't even expecting to hear anything about it as well.
Well, I'd had one of the scans that I'd had done. It come up on that there was, or what the hell did they call it? There was lesions there, but there was also a lot of grey matter, which would happen in age anyway.
Right.
So if you went for a scan, you would probably find the odd little changes if they'd looked at a scan from say 10 years ago, if you'd ever had one. So they didn't know whether it was white matter, just which is normal, or whether so I knew it was a possibility, but I didn't know enough. Yeah, I mean, I laugh about it now, but
I can't get over the fact that they knew for 2 months and didn't say anything, and only by chance did you find out about it.
yeah. I mean, the conversation with the doctors went something like, well, we only got told that you have to get in touch with neurology if you have any further symptoms. I'm like, any further symptoms of what?
And don't
Do you want
I
to tell me what I'm looking out for here?
Yeah.
And then when I spoke to eventually the consultant got in touch with me 2 weeks later, and he's talking to me as if I already knew. And I'm like, whoa, hold it, mate. Can you step back a bit here? What are you going on about? And he was like, oh, you have multiple sclerosis. Do you not know? I was like, well, I do now, don't I? And he was rather taken back that I didn't know, because whoever it was that was his PA receptionist or whatever had basically gone on the sick, and all of the paperwork was still on her desk.
Oh my God. It's just
It was
going back to this old thing that I said about the fact that nothing works.
yeah.
Everything's broken.
I mean, now I literally, whenever anyone comes to me with any dramas to do with hospitals and the rest, I just roll my eyes because it's not something that I'm not going to be shocked by it. It's
No.
not the case, is it? And for myself, it's like, oh, for Christ's sake, here we go again.
So those scans that they do, is this a full blown MRI in the big
Yeah.
polo tube? Yeah.
Yep, in the wind tunnel, that lovely makes that lovely noise that you can't make any tune up to it, or
How do you get on
if
with
you're
those?
claustrophobic, you won't like it.
Yeah. How do you get on with those?
I just close my eyes and go to sleep. I think even the first time I went, I don't like them. They do bring the anxiety on because you've got to, that you can't move. If you move, that's going to cause artifacts on the images, so they'd have to redo it. So you've got to stay as still as possible. But with MS, if you stay as still as possible, MS is that child that goes, no, well, you want to move, you want to move.
So,
So
just for you then, and I know that you said this, it obviously differs from person to person, but what, for those who are, and they're going, what on earth is this? What is multiple sclerosis? What is it in terms of a diagnosis?
well, multiple sclerosis it's a long term disease. I'll get my words out. Degenerative. Um, it's basically your immune system attacks the myelin sheath in your body. Now, the myelin sheath it's a cover that covers the nerves. If you think of a wire for your iPhone or whatever, basically it's that covering around it, and
Yeah.
it's been eaten away. And obviously, if a wire becomes exposed, it doesn't work very well. So that's what MS does. It eats away at your central nervous system. So that's your spine, and your spine is attached to everything in the body all the way down, and your brain. So you've got your different part. You've got your right side leads to your left hand side of your body, and vice versa. You've got your memory and different bits, so it all depends again where it gets eaten away to what type of symptom or problem that you may have.
And how do you find that it affects you on a day to day?
When it happens, basically. I mean, for myself, I have, oh God, I've never had a thing called optical neuritis, I think it's pronounced, which is apparently extreme pain in the face, worse than toothache. It can affect your vision and that. Thankfully, touch wood, I've never had that. But when I'm fatigued, I do get a foot drop. So your foot normally, you're walking, mine goes and forgets to come back up, which can be hysterical when I'm on the Stairmaster. If I don't hold on to the sides, my balance is terrible. I'll veer off to I veer off to the left because I've got left side weakness, but that's due to damage that's in the right hand side of my brain.
Yeah.
This is why it's so different, because if you get damage that side, it's going to affect that side. It's yeah, and you don't know where it's going to attack. You don't know. It's like when tonsillitis, your throat's a bit sore. You've got an idea that you're going to get tonsil, something. You don't get no warning. It just happens. It's like one day you're all right, next day, right, is this a relapse? As in other symptoms coming back to haunt me? A flare up, other symptoms coming back to haunt me? Or is this a relapse? Right, there's nothing new, and you've literally got to think back. What have I done? Where have I been? Do I have a water infection? So that's samples that I've got to go off.
Well, I was going to say, are there things that affect it then, or can bring it on?
Yeah, basically anything that causes an immune response. So if you can think of anything that would cause your immune system to stress, in obviously infection, injury, heat, that flares your immune system. So a rise in temperature just by a couple of degrees. Cold, again, even though the temperature might have dropped, your immune system will actually come back to life.
Wow.
And it'll try to keep your body at a regular temperature and protect them organs. Your immune system is this thing that's supposed to protect us. Mine is thick.
That is the thing. And believe me, I understand it pales in comparison to what you have, but I've got a form of arthritis that is off the back of autoimmune. Okay.
Yes.
And that is the one thing that pisses me off the most about it, is how stupid it is. Because if you catch something, that's different. But this is your own body doing it to you. And it's like that is what makes it worse than anything else. The fact that it makes no sense whatsoever.
I mean, to me, if all of my symptoms were continuous, they were constant, I would be able to find a way myself to adapt and move through. So if I'm trying to think of something, I suppose the same as if you break your leg. Imagine you've broken your leg, it's never going to get fixed. An amputee, even. That limb is no longer there. You have to adapt around it. It's constant, it's every day. I would be able to figure it out because this is so up and down. You don't know what you're doing from one day to the next. And you don't even know what you're doing from morning to night. You might wake up fine, but come 12 o'clock, you're asleep. Because your body's just gone click. Someone's turned the switch off and you've crashed. A couple of hours later, you might be up again. You might be all right, and you might crash again. So planning anything,
get a chance to live a certain way, you have to adapt hour by hour. Really,
basically. I mean, most people get affected by the heat. I'm lucky in the fact that I don't. So this time of year, I'm actually better. If I go abroad, I'm better. The air quality is clearer over there as well. And for some reason, I went to Kos the other year. My MS stayed at the airport, and I had a brilliant holiday. But you put me somewhere cold, different story. Yeah, I will not be going on holiday to the Antarctic.
Well, if you do, you won't be on a Stairmaster whilst you're in the
basically, yes. I will be a dribbling idiot in the corner.
Have they in any way alluded to why this started with you?
No. There's research going on at the moment that the Epstein-Barr virus has something to do with it. But I don't, and I've never had Epstein-Barr, which is your glandular fever type of thing. I've never had anything to do with that. I need to actually look up on research because I did have an inoculation when I was younger. Never looked down that route. I might have to look up that route.
Potentially. I tell you why I ask. I had an episode with Tom, who's got a channel called Deleting Dads, and he has multiple sclerosis, and he believes, and he's seen, I wouldn't say evidence, but he's seen research to the effect of a traumatic event or a high stress event, and he alludes it to the fact of when his relationship ended and his parental alienation started.
I think because I did actually watch that podcast, and in some respects, I think that it does play a part in it. I think he is right. I left home at the age of 13. I've not exactly had the best life, and them, if you put them all together, it's like, whoa, hold on a second. And some of them have been catastrophic type of trauma. Some of them are not so bad, but they're still trauma. I do have PTSD. Is it complex PTSD? I don't know. That's never been diagnosed that far. Possibly is, to be fair. But no, from what he says, yes, I do agree with him.
Because I'll tell you for why, especially when it comes to anything autoimmune. I mean, my symptoms got worse probably about 6 years ago, and it was around that time my ex-wife and I split, and then my own version of the parental alienation started, and so on like that.
Yeah.
And so when someone says to me, well, my autoimmune started from a highly stressful situation, it then got me to think back and go, well, yeah, actually, yeah, for me, that was coincidental. Yeah.
They say to me that I mean, I've been diagnosed 6 years this month. Is it? Yeah, 6 years this month. My first episode was in the October of the year previous. But at that particular time, we had the likes of COVID and the rest of it. But they think I actually had it about 15 years previous.
Oh, wow. So it had been sort of brewing all that time.
Basically, it's just I never had a lesion appear in a place that caused me too much of a problem.
Does it tracks with life history from about 15 years earlier?
That's it. As daft as it is, when I blame my daughter, because that's roughly around the time I had her.
Solid,
when it comes to the likes of pregnancy and the rest of it, that even though it's supposed to be the most beautiful thing in the world, it is actually a traumatic event, not just for one day, for 9 bloody months.
And what was the pregnancy like? Was it a difficult pregnancy?
Not really. But if you think during anything like that, your hormones are going crazy. They are going all over the place. Therefore, why didn't my body have some reaction?
I suppose if there's like a weakness already, it just needs something just to switch it.
That's it.
Mad. It is mad, because then you just sort of realize, well, actually, if you look at all the things that are caused by or made worse by stress, it's a long bloody list.
Yeah.
And anything to do, I mean, stress brings on my autoimmune. I assume it does you as well. So it does track. It does track with these kind of.
I mean, I do look back over like yesterday, because I was so low yesterday. I looked back over and I'm like, well, because I don't get the normal symptoms of a urine infection, so I've got to. But I'm like, no, everything seems right in that department, but there's no reason for that. What have I eaten? What have I literally look back for about 2 or 3 weeks of what could have caused that event. And the only thing I put it down to this time is stress, basically. The emails I received yesterday just completely knocked me sideways. And so then it's getting the mindset right. And then thankfully, that's slowed everything down and enabled me to go to the gym today.
Well, because the body goes into panic mode. It goes into fight or flight. So it floods itself with hormones. The autoimmune system goes into, and if the autoimmune system is kind of like, I need to protect this body, but I also need to fuck up these nerves as well. It's going to make it even worse. Absolutely. And it kind of, I wonder if that's an avenue, whether they are looking into, or whether it's just shared experiences that people are just saying.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they do take people's accounts into consideration, or when it comes to the research, because it's okay looking at everything under a microscope, but if they can actually look at people's events and the fact, and I mean, you just got to look on the likes of Instagram or Facebook, people's events are the same or very, very similar. So there has to be something there. There can't not be. It might not be all of it, but there's got to be something in it, definitely.
But there's definitely something that a lot of people with multiple sclerosis do not do, which is start bodybuilding. Okay. That's when I was told, oh, and she does bodybuilding as well, I was a little bit like, what? Like, so she's got multiple sclerosis, she does bodybuilding. Okay, so how? I know you said that you was always essentially a gym rat. You would be going there all the time. So where did it then come to? Do you know what? This is what I'm going to focus on. I know you said it was about you had time on your hands, but
yeah, I had a lot of time on my hands, and it comes down to the old saying: if I don't use it, I'll lose it. So for me, it was the case of, I do it for 2 reasons. One, for my mental health. Today was the case of leave reality on the doorstep and just do for me, which is what I did. But it's also to keep my mobility for as long as I can. working on them core muscles. There was a lady with, she has progressive multiple sclerosis. Speaking to her around the time I was starting to go back in the gym, and she said if I knew or I'd been told that all I needed to do was keep my core right, I would have done. And now look at me, I'm in a bloody wheelchair. And I took that. And I was like, well, yeah, okay, I have this, I still have this chance. So I'm going to do as much as I bloody well can. And then obviously I started developing muscles. And so it was the case of, bugger it. I've got a few friends that compete. So it was the case of, right, okay, let's see what we can do. Can either
So
go somewhere with this or not.
how do you even begin that? Do you just start at the bottom and just you change the way you eat, or what is it you do?
Well, this is just it. It's with bodybuilding, the nutrition's got to be spot on. With MS, they say your nutrition has got to be spot on. So the two of them fitted. So eating clean, not eating junk shit all the time, work is good for MS or any illness, basically. But exercise, everything needs exercise. Okay, I'm doing it to an extreme, but that's putting me ahead of any atrophy that I might end up with, because I know that I've already got muscle atrophy. I know that I'm fighting that as well. So that just makes me go harder.
Is that what your personality is? Then are you just
Basically, yeah. I'm not one to give up. I won't take things lying down. I do get to a point where I'm just like, oh my God, just someone shoot me. I have been in my past suicidal in well before all of this, before my daughter was born. I lived in a caravan in a field with a horse. Yeah.
that was nice to me, to be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't my horse, it was someone else's. And a tree. But yeah, I've been rock bottom, and it's a place I'll never want to go again. I managed to climb out of it. I recognize it when it's coming about. Depression is something that comes hand in hand with MS due to the changes in the brain. So it's something I'm even more aware of now. And yeah, it's just keeping the whole of my body as healthy as it can be.
Well, I imagine it's just a focus for you. Instead of sitting there thinking, I've got MS, I've got MS, I've got MS, you're thinking about something else and focusing on it.
Well, that's it. I mean, I've basically lost the control of a lot of things in my life. I can't work anymore. So therefore, I've lost control of finances, control like of any income coming in, apart from benefits, which I never ever thought that I would be living my life on benefits at this age. But we're only one paycheck close to, it's one of that. So for me, being in the gym, I get to control that machine. I get to control me. I adapt if I can do that particular today. My legs weren't working too strong, so I did an arm session. But I made sure I did everything on a seated machine. There was stuff that I should have done stood up, but I was like, no, I'm going to do everything seated today to save the legs, to give them a rest because they're not playing ball. And MS to you.
Well, the thing is, you just have to adapt to what you've got that day. Like you said, it changes hour by hour. So you think, well, actually, look, no, this is not going to be a good day for legs, so I'm going to sit down.
That's just it. I don't have any control over the housing situation that I've got at the moment. Definitely don't have any over my body as such. But when I'm in the gym, I have complete control. It's me that says I'm going on that machine. It's me that says I'm only doing three sets, not four. It's so that control set, and it kind of makes me feel that I'm not completely useless, even though I'm only doing for me. I'm not done, but I'm not done for yet. And to be fair, if I end up in a wheelchair, you'll still find me in the gym.
I see people with wheelchairs in the gym, so at the end of the day,
Exactly.
they're in there. Is that something that you think can get to you if you think about it enough? The fact that the multiple sclerosis you cannot control, it's essentially
Mm.
controlling you in a way. Is that something that can get to you?
It is, and at the moment with the stress that I've had for so long, I mean, it's been chronic stress. I know that it can cause a relapse. I don't know what that next relapse is going to bring.
Yeah.
And that's for me the scary part of it is I don't want another relapse, not a full blown relapse, because I then might end up in the corner with two straws up my nose. Wibble, sorry if you know. I can't remember Blackadder. You'll get that one. Um, but I will be claiming insanity because I don't know what's going to happen
Mm,
until it happens, and it's scary. But in saying that, I don't know if I'm going to get hit by a car until I cross the road.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think there's going to be a lot of people who have some kind of condition, or whether it is MS or if it's something else, that don't feel like they have the energy, that they don't feel like they're worthy. I mean, is there some kind of tip that you can suggest to them to at least make a start?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the gym, they don't have to lift heavy. You can lift a box. Yeah, you can lift a cup of coffee. If you can lift a cup of coffee, you've got movement.
Mhm.
Change it around. Use that movement. You might not be able to walk down the end of the street, but you can take 2 steps. You can get one of them machines that you can sit there and do. It's for me, it's the mindset. It definitely is the mindset. You can sit in a corner and cry and whinge as much as you want. It ain't gonna change now. The only thing that's gonna change is changing that mindset and doing. You get plenty of people without any conditions that will sit there and they will claim they're the victim of absolutely everything and they won't help themselves. And a lot of people with conditions, not necessarily MS, but any condition, again, they won't help themselves. It's being able plan your day as much as you can. I write my day tomorrow down, what I want to do. Now, what I want to do and what I end up doing might be two different things. I play bingo with my list, tick them off, see if I get a full house.
Mhm.
Hopefully tomorrow I'll wake up okay. I'll go to the gym. I'll probably have some postal orders to do. I'm looking after my friend's dog from tomorrow. You know, I have literally everything written down. Even eating is written down. So remembering to make the meal, remembering to eat it. But literally, it can be long, but after a while, you just get used to doing it. Literally plan everything that you want to do. Write down everything that you want to do. One gives you that. What was I doing today? We all forget what we're doing.
Mhm.
Walk in the next room, you forget. Write it down and literally plan. When am I actually feeling my best? Well, I actually feel my best first thing on the morning. Right, so that's what I'm gonna. That's what I'm gonna do. Yes, it's gonna bloody kill me, but if I can do it 3 times a week, it's a start. If I can do it if I do it once a week, it's a start. You don't have to go and do something every single day of the week to be a success. Just half an hour, because next week that half hour might turn into 2 half hours.
Mm.
In 4 weeks, it might be 3 half hours.
How do
It's
you feel if you have things that you're unable to do, like it's on your list but you haven't been able to do it? How do you feel with that?
It used to really frustrate me. It used to annoy me because I've got OCD as well. So everything's got to be, yeah. Everything has
Of
to be
course.
just,
Yeah.
everything has to be just so. Everything has a place, everything's got to be done. So when I can't take it did used to really, really frustrate me. Now it just slightly annoys me. And then I have to pass it on to the next day list. And then that next day list gets longer and longer and longer. But then I've got to prioritize the list and go, right, okay, I've got 15 things here. I should only have 5. What can go? And I will actually, it's like hoovering. I even write that down.
It's fair enough.
Because it's something that's going to zap my energy. Taking a shower, I know it's going to zap my energy, but after a while, you need to do that.
And for the undisciplined slobs like myself and maybe others who are watching this,
Yeah.
what does a bodybuilding competition look like? What does it consist of? What's the sort of run up to it?
The run up, to start off with, you're preparing for it. You're in prep. You're conditioning your body. So
What does
that's
that mean?
getting the muscles where you want them. Because at the actual show itself, different categories have different. It's like let me think. You're making my brain think. If you want toned wellness, bikini, it's like bikini. They want a little bit of muscle, not a lot. They want tone. They want the body to look a certain way. That you move
Right.
up to well-being, they want to see the muscle, but then they might only want to see a large top half, but yet another category is hard bottom half. It's different for the men. You've got your classic, so back in the day, your Arnold Schwarzenegger, your classics, as in their look. But you've got your athletic, you've got your. It all depends on what type of criteria you want to go into and what you want to look like yourself. As you get closer to prep, that's when you've got the weight loss side of it, and that on nutrition is an absolute nightmare. Um, you can't have 30 grams of that. You need 31 grams. Yeah, it's
Right. Okay. I mean,
yeah.
what is it? I mean, is there any element of, because you want the muscles to be more defined? Is there any element of weight cutting? Is there any sort of water cutting as well whatsoever?
Well, on the what? Yeah, on the because you don't want to walk on the stage looking puffy, so full of water. So you will deplete on your water. You'll build your water up to start with because the muscles need water to be filled. So all these people taking creatine, if you're not drinking enough, you ain't gonna see you ain't gonna see anything. Hence,
Yeah.
yeah. um, but it's when you see somebody who is on a show, they'll be skinny, they'll be ripped, they'll be looking. They're not like that every single day of the year. They have taken about 12 to 16 weeks to get to that. And then they'll go back to not normal eating, but a regular eating.
Yeah,
And
because
then
I'm
you,
wondering, like, you've had your event, and let's say, I mean, regardless of how you placed or anything like that, you've then got the next day. So then it's like, well, what does that day look like? You know, you've worked
that
all
day
your
looks like cake.
just stuff in your face with whatever you want.
Basically. But I mean, you see these people that are completely ripped, 10% body fat, and that's for the stage. You cannot sustain that level of body mass or body fat a long term. It's not sustainable. Your body will, your electrolytes will start going to pot. You'll have health issues that you didn't even know you had. It's just not sustainable. It is for sure, but it's a short period. I know one of the girls has just competed 9 times.
Wow.
So I don't think it's been every weekend, but that would just make it longer. I would think for about 12 weeks she has been in that shape, in that physique that she wants, which is hard going, both mentally and on the body itself. She's out of it. She's not got any more competitions that I know of coming up, but yeah, she's got some overall wins. She's got firsts. She's absolutely bossed it.
Is there any, I mean, I know it's not professional as such, because I'm sure in the professional world there's things, but is there any element of drug use or anything like that that's potentially
Yeah.
included in there?
Yeah, I mean, I do take peptides. I take growth hormone, and I do. I've recently started with a product called Femtest, which is testy, but in a minute form, you would be able, because your body obviously runs on testosterone, you're male. The female body, it doesn't. But try and get your body tested for testosterone being female, it doesn't happen. I went to a private company, got my full blood count, and my testosterone level was so low, it was ridiculous. I'm also menopausal, so or perimenopausal, so that reduces your testosterone in itself. Low testosterone for you and I would have the same, the fatigue, the
Mhm.
uh, everything, yeah, but obviously more so for yourself than me, but it does happen with women. So I am on a dose of it, but it's a little bit of, yes, I need the testosterone to build the muscle, but I also need the testosterone to function. So
Yeah.
there's, for me, there's like a double
So how do
standard
you
there.
take it? Is that a tablet or is it a solution or
Yeah,
what
it's
is
an
it?
injection.
So you
Yeah,
inject yourself with testosterone.
yeah. For me, I can do it subcutaneous, so that's just basically pinching the belly and into the fat layer, or into muscle, which would be straight into,
Oh,
yeah.
Christ. Wow.
Well,
And did that have like a, I'm not, I don't want to say an immediate effect, but did it seem quite quick with
it
what it did?
did. I actually got in touch with my coach the first day, and I said, "Have you ever known of anybody have any effects from this fam test within a couple of hours?" She's like, "No, why?" I said, "Because I should be asleep by now, and I'm not."
I'm pumped. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't believe it. My energy just went whoop, and I'm like, "Okay, let's see what tomorrow's like." And I was the same. Day three, the same. Getting towards due the next one, it dropped.
Hmm.
Because I just take it weekly, and I'm back up again, and then it's slowly, and I'm like, but I don't want to take any more because then I will turn male.
Well, wouldn't it be weird if you just kind of miraculously found some kind of cure or some kind of benefit for MS accidentally?
Well, oh my God, that would be amazing. I mean, not just, I mean, a lot of people I know nowadays suffer with fibromyalgia, and the
Mhm.
fatigue with that is absolutely horrendous. The fatigue with MS is one of the most liberating symptoms that there is. Most people suffer with that side of it, and it's like, hang on a minute, hmm, have I come on to something here or what?
Weirder things are happening.
What?
So
What?
imagine, I mean, the fact of the MS is going to make you tired, it's going to make you fatigued. And yet, this is something that, I mean, even if it gets the body moving more, the ability to move more, it's going to help the body, isn't it?
Well, that's just it. I mean, it's I mean, the likes of when it comes to anabolic steroids and the rest of it, and then you've got your oral ones like Anavar that do promote more energy. So when you go to the gym, it makes you feel stronger. So why shouldn't it work on a standard level?
There
But
we go.
th- when it comes to them types of steroids, it doesn't matter how much you take, you ain't going to be unless you put the work in.
Mm.
You've still got to put the work in to get beefed up. But yeah, I do wonder, has any research been done on that side of it? I don't know.
Well, because the thing is, you never know how much research is being done at any given time. You know, they might be doing a
No,
little bit, they might not be doing very much. What's something from the bodybuilding side of things that has surprised you?
nothing really for me because I knew a lot about it beforehand.
Hmm.
Um, with having friends and that competing, the worst part for me has been reversing out from prep, from eating so strictly to being able to relax the eating
Hmm.
and then slowly get the eating back up again because you need the nutrition to be able to fuel the body. Uh, Like my coach will say to me, a Ferrari ain't going to run with an empty tank, and the body's the same. It's just not going to happen. Um, and that has been the worst part of it for me. But for things that shock, no. I mean, I actually met Lee Priest the other day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now for me, I was tongue tied. I never get tongue tied. But yeah, the fact of I've got, for me, a legend bodybuilder. Yeah.
Because
I don't know what.
I watch videos. I have watched videos on lots of different ones, like Ronnie Coleman and people like that. I've watched videos and all that. And the thing that always gets me is the eating, because it's almost like the near constant eating that they have to do, and they hate having to do it because it is just a function then, rather than that they want to eat. They know that they have to eat, and you just see the endless. But the question that always gets in my head and my upper half's head is, how do they afford all this food? Especially when it's endless meat, and we know meat is not cheap. Because it's so, but there's so much of it. You know what I mean? They're constantly having to go and buy and this, that, and the other. I mean, I know when you get to the upper echelons, you must make a fair bit, I would imagine.
No, I would think them a lot do, but for the likes of myself, I'll go to the local market and I get meat trays. So I will get a full meat tray of chicken, but I won't get one. I'll get 4 of them. And I have a dedicated freezer for it all. So I'll come on.
How long would those trays last you?
Say again, sorry.
How long would one of those trays last you?
For me, it would be about 2.5 weeks.
So it's not too bad then, because you're looking at over months. Well, nearly 2 months worth of
well, that's
food.
it. Well, on the chicken is what, three times a day. 245, I think it is, grams of it. So it's about half of a decent chicken breast. 35-40 grams of rice. So you're getting your carbs and that in, and then vegetables. Otherwise, if you don't have the vegetables, you ain't going to go to the toilet.
Well, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So you've got to keep that side of it in there. And that'll be 2 or 3 times a day. But the way that you do it is, normally you might eat a full chicken breast with a shed load of, the korma sauce or whatever else you throw into it. Imagine that, but divide it into 3. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. There's my 3 meals.
That's fair enough, isn't it? I mean, do you ever get bored of it? Do you ever get sick of having
No, a few people I do know, they're sort of like, oh, but because I just literally stick it in a bowl and eat it. I'm not bothered about presentation. It's a fuel. That's all it is to me.
It's serving a function for you, isn't
it? But other people are, oh no, you've got to have a bit of colour in there. You've got to have a bit of green and a bit of, and I'm like, yeah, that's too much hassle. Just stick it on the plate and I'll eat it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just I just, like I said, I see them eat these constant bloody amounts, and then I'm just thinking they look pissed off because they're having to eat so much, but they know they have to because of what they're doing. Because you just see the bloody their arms and their chests and all that. They have to repair the body as well.
Don't look at what strongmen eat, as in because then you Eddie Hall and the rest of it, because then you're going into a different level.
Yeah.
How the hell they do it, I don't know.
No. I mean, that is constant then, isn't it?
That is. I mean, what they have for breakfast would last me a whole day.
Yeah.
In comparison.
And then they'll go and then they'll have a snack of meat.
Yeah.
And they'll go and then have a lunch and a shake. Then they'll have something else. Then they'll have something else. And it's like, bloody. Then I'm being funny, not being crude. Then I think, how much are you shitting? My God, you must be on the toilet all the bloody time.
Well, there's that side of it as well. It's like, but in saying that, when it comes to drinks, I mean, most of my drinks have got some form of protein in them.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping that protein level up, and then you can get your shakes that are loaded, which are your mass shakes, which are loaded with your carbs. So you can actually get, I suppose, these meal and a drink. Yeah, that would possibly class as a snack.
I was going to say, yeah, because everything seems to have got protein in it at the minute. Like they're doing so many different things with 20 grams of protein and all that. And I'm just like, but unless you're really working out all the time, it's just going through you and out the other end. You're not using it.
Or it's just going to convert and you're just going to end up putting a hell of a lot of weight on for the wrong reasons.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're eating refined carbs all the time.
There you go.
Cake does solve everything, though.
Cake is the answer to all things in life.
Yes.
And I guess the thing is, this podcast has been the reason I set it up, and I mention it every time, is because when I very first came on and I did a video, and I talked about how, like, you know, I didn't feel my life was where it needed to be. Everyone, all they ever said to me was, you need to change your perspective on life.
Yes.
Okay. And you have just mentioned that earlier, where you're sort of saying, look, instead of just sitting there and feeling sorry for yourself, get out and do it. Is there something that, if you think back to 20-year-old you or whoever it might be, what would you tell them in the spirit of wisdom that you now know? What would you tell her?
What would little me tell me now? Keep going. Don't give up. Whatever happens is only for the moment. That moment might be a week, might be 2 weeks, might be longer, but it is only for the moment. And there will be light at the end. You've just got to literally just keep on pushing through, keep adapting, and keep going.
God bless you.
I mean,
God
that's
bless you.
yeah, that's one of my mottos, is the fact of is only for the moment.
Thank you ever so much for that. No, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on and to listen
No,
to you.
that's fine. Thank you. Thank you for yeah, no,
it's
thank
so
you
nice.
for allowing me.
That's all right. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got something that could absolutely debilitate many people, but you've taken it and you've gone, no, not me. I'm going to continue and I'm going to push through this. And that means a lot to me, because it says to me, look, get on and do things, because here's somebody who could crumble. She's not. Why are you thinking the way you are? Okay.
Well, that's it. Let the haters hate, because you always get them in any form of life. Let them, if they're talking about you, they're leaving someone else alone. You know you know what you're capable of. Believe in yourself and do it.
Brilliant. Thank you, Zoe. And
Thank
anyone
you.
else who's watching this and wants to take part and be a guest on the show, you can do just that by getting in contact with me via the email address that is found in the video description and on the channel description as well. Zoe, thank you ever so much, and I will speak to you soon.